Welcome everybody to our speaker series for tonight for the HFUU. We're gonna be listening to some music from Drew Martin in just a sec, and then we'll be hearing a presentation from Lauren Rigo with the project Locavore, as well as Andrea DeRude and the Maui Tea Farm. So without further ado, I just wanna invite everybody to listen to our music speaker tonight, Drew Martin, a local musician here on Maui. And you can check him out on his Instagram at Drew Hey Now. So, all right, without further ado, Drew Martin, thank you very much.
Hey, thank you. Thanks for having me. Yeah, I think this is the third one I've done, one of these, so it's always fun. So thank you guys for having me back. Yeah. Okay, you can hear me okay? Let's see. I'll start off with this one. Here we go. If you ever want to travel, come to my home. I know how it feels to see something different. The time is now. Far away, you've come for the ocean. I'll rock you to the rhythm of the ocean, yeah. Rock you to the rhythm of the ocean. Oh. You will begin to know the silent ocean is very rich with its own life. You can look through, you can look above you on the ocean. I'll rock you to the rhythm of the ocean, yeah. Rock you to the rhythm of the ocean. If you want to come again on the other side, I'll be waiting right there on the meadows by the ocean. Hey. You will begin to know the silent ocean is very rich with its own life. You can look through, you can look above you on the ocean. I'll rock you to the rhythm of the ocean, yeah. Rock you to the rhythm of the ocean. Thank you. Okay, try one more. Yeah. Try this guitar. This is a new song. I'm still messing with this song. Just kind of figured it out a few days ago. So it's still a brand new thing. See how it goes. You can hear me okay. Thank you, guys.
Drew, is there something up with your microphone? We cannot hear you right now.
I still new to this thing.
We heard you for the end of that song, and then it just kind of trailed off there.
Yeah, it's saying it is low right now. How's that?
Real good.
Okay. Let's see. We'll try this song. A little slack key kind of thing, a little quiet song. Close your eyes in a sacred garden. Bird songs singing in the clouds drift away. All your fears and all your sorrows seem to drift away, seem to drift away. Close your eyes on a sacred river. All your dreams and all your memories fade. Can't get lost inside these visions. Remember how you feel today. Behold the beauty of this world in each passing day. Behold the beauty of this world in each passing day. Fly away. Going where the rain falls, waiting on a clear sky. High above the ocean, there's a doorway to light.
of this world in each passing day. Behold the beauty of this world in each passing day. Yeah. Thank you.
Oh yeah, thank you, Drew Martin. One more time, everyone, a round of applause. So
Thank
much
you.
for that beautiful music.
Thank you.
Yeah. And everyone, please check out Drew Martin on Instagram at Drew Hey Now.
That's it. Yeah.
Thank you again.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I'll stick around.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Now we're ready for our first speaker for tonight's series. We have Lauren Rigo with Project Locavore, helping us try and be inspired to eat more local foods. And without further ado, Lauren Rigo, take it away.
Thanks, Mason. That was so beautiful. I don't know what, I wasn't expecting that, Drew. That was like, you have a new fan. I already followed you on Instagram. It was like so amazing. All right, let me get my screen up here. Lauren Rigo, Project Locavore. And I'm so stoked to be here tonight. Thank you guys. All right. So Project Locavore, we're the home of the Eat Local Challenge and Eat Local Maui Facebook community. We really consider ourselves a community building initiative. And bottom line, it's about sharing resources, recipes, getting to know farmers and neighbors, people in our community, and taking personal steps towards building our food security for Maui Nui. To give you a little background on where it all started, it really it came up in this time when we were really divided in our agricultural community. We were fighting really hard against Monsanto. And the first Eat Local Challenge really came from my own promise to myself, my own commitment to my own activism, that as much energy as I was putting into like fighting the problems in our food supply system, I would be committing equal amounts of energy into solution-based work. So 2013 was the first Maui's first Eat Local Challenge, and it was very like organic, like, hey guys, I'm doing it, I'm popping up event pages on every island and we're doing it in a week and come along. And actually like quite a few, probably 40, 50 people on every island participated the first round. So I say annual tradition here, I'm kind of fudging it. We've done 11 various challenges in 9 years, but not every year. There's a little gap there. But basically, the challenge is we go 100% local for 7 days. And doing so, you know, we kind of like touch in on what bad habits happen during the year and, you know, start looking at all the food in our community going to waste through, you know, a different lens. Preaching to the choir, you guys know all the benefits about eating local in terms of like health and economy and all of that. But I really can't stress enough that for us, it's really about community. If you haven't done a week, I recommend everybody does it once. A lot of people who feel really connected to your food system, there's still so much to glean from really going through the full experience. And there's no better way to become like super clear about all the pukas in our food system. That first challenge in 2013, that's like the big eye opener for me. It's like, I'm a single mom of a 6-year-old, but in 2013, I was like bachelorette in Lahaina. I had all this time in the world I didn't know I had. And I went through all the grocery stores and spent hours reading all the labels, even, you know, on the periphery of the grocery stores. And that was such you know, such a wild experience to realize as a casual shopper, what do all these labels mean? You know, Maui potato chips or aloha tofu, you know, a lot of this locally manufactured, what does that mean? Or, you know, packaged in Honolulu salt, where was that harvested? And locally roasted coffee imported from different countries, right? Everything with a label that it's from Hawaii. So super eye-opening and really shocking. Those first shopping trips to leave like a large grocery store. I was in Kahana, like Times, even Foodland in Lahaina was pretty bad then. Leaving with like 3 items and freaking out, like, what am I gonna eat? So I took it to publicly, you know, to social media. And that's when everybody started coming out of the woodwork, like, come over, I have this, here's venison, here, I have this in my backyard, I have pre-cooked kalo, like all of these really amazing ingredients. And to this day, that really truly is the blessing of doing the challenge. Spoiler alert, like, obviously we're not gonna replace everything in a standard diet with a local product. And there are definitely a lot of people who don't do the challenge or haven't done it, who say, you know, cost, right? Local food is more expensive. Cost is a barrier to participation. I truly believe, having been doing it for so many years, that it kind of isn't even. It works kind of itself out, where there are like some items that you're going to spend more money to replace with a local item. There are so many less things that you can buy, that the things that you end up harvesting, trading, foraging, sharing, really balance it all out. And so this is really why we largely identify as a community building initiative over like a food security initiative, is because if you are going to eat 100% local diet, there is no way you're doing it by yourself. It's really all about our community. So quick timeline, we did challenges in 2013, 14, and 15 statewide. In 2015, we realized that we should probably create some kind of central location to keep building our community. And that's when we started our Facebook group. 2016, I became a mom and everything turned upside down. So time got really scarce. I call those are like the Costco years, you know, where like, you know, you can't, even today, we've done leaps and bounds in our food system from the first challenge, but today you still cannot go into one store and buy everything that you would need to eat 100% local. So these are my Costco years. And then 2020, right, COVID comes into the picture and kind of like blew everything up in terms of food security and all of our understanding and awareness of what food is actually being grown on our island. So our Facebook group blew up. We're, I think, like 5.2 thousand members now, but to give you a picture, we maybe had like 700 members going into the pandemic. And it was just like all of us food nerds that did this annual thing once a year. And we pivoted really quickly to make our group a place where people could find food, who had crops that were going to waste, who needed food, and especially as people were avoiding grocery stores and things like that. And so suddenly our little niche interest of eating 100% local food became super popular. And so the 2020 Eat Local Challenge was a really big deal. Our members wanted to do a month. All kinds of companies wanted to sponsor it with prizes. We inspired Eat Local Kauai and Eat Local Hawaii island groups and their challenges, and was like, oh yeah, okay, like it's cool what we're doing, you know. 2020, Ashley Hogue, you guys maybe know her. She's with Ho'omakua Farms. She suggested that we add this bingo card kind of activity to the challenge, and so we crowdsourced in our group different challenges, and this was really fun. This was also really engaged my daughter, who at the time I guess was 4. and had kind of a picky diet, but she was super excited about being able to do all of these activities and check them off on the fridge. And she actually ate 100% local for that week. And that's when we kind of realized, so, okay, two things. We had all this interest in like sponsorship and all this, and that was great. We thought it would encourage more people to participate. It kind of created some unintentional barriers to participation where we had to keep a really good point system because it was like 2 nights at the Four Seasons and you know, and all of these prizes. And I think it created some unintentional barriers to participation. So the next year, 2021, we scrapped the prizes. The prize is that you like the experience you have doing the challenge, as it always has been. And this right here is like our sweet spot. We simplified the challenge to really engage our kids. I have another partner in the challenge now, Ashley Lindsay, organizes with me. And we met doing the challenge both before we had kids. And really simplifying it down to a level that engaged our kids and their classrooms. Ashley's daughter is in immersion school at Paia. And we had a kumu from Kekula Opi'ilani translate the bingo card for us in 2021 into Olelo, Hawaii. And all of the kids in the immersion school did the challenge. This year, all the kids at Paia, Ka'ia Puni, did the challenge. So a majority of the children, Hawaiian speaking children in Maui County have done the Eat Local Challenge in Olelo, Hawaii. So this for us is like, we thought we made it when we got like the corporate sponsorship, and like, no. This is actually where we want to be. And when I go back to the purpose, right? Like the impetus, what drove me to start working in this area was that kind of like counterpart, that answer to the problems with the big ag, right? It's like the monocropping, the extraction model, the take till there's nothing left. And if we look at these like I don't know if you guys can see this, well, it's kind of tiny print, but really, really simple actions we're talking about here to counter that. So instead of like the big impersonal import, export, large ag, we're saying like thank a farmer. In order to thank a farmer, you have to go find a farmer. And we've got lots of farmers, you know, but there's nothing, you know, more personal than going. So if you're at the farmer's market, or maybe you're taking a farm tour, or maybe it's your neighbor across the fence, but when I think about big ag and like I'm saying that extraction model of just like take, we're saying plant, share, give. There's one here, share without receiving, you know, these very, very simple actions engaging our children around increasing food security, but ultimately it's the same kind of remedies that we need in our community today. So we got a lot of like share with your neighbor, trade with your neighbor. A lot of people today, we don't even know our neighbors anymore. Everything's changing so quickly. And in order to share and trade with your neighbor, you have to talk to your neighbor. So this right here in English and in Olelo, Hawaii is, it's really like our sweet spot. This is really where we want to be working. And so just some successes, recent successes, like I mentioned earlier, we have a lot of the Hawaiian immersion children doing the challenge in Olelo, Hawaii. We recently partnered with Maui County on a video series doing cooking instructions for 100% local recipes. You know, and doing that is like a shout out, each one of those, a shout out to 20 different small local farmers, which is great. We recently published a small recipe book of 100% local recipes that have come from the people who have done the challenges over the last 9 years, which has been really, I mean, we have so much now. I have to put little asterisks throughout the cookbook because like those of us that do it all the time, we're like stocked up in local black peppercorn and local butter and things that are a little bit harder if you just want to jump into it. But chicken we have today from Simple Roots and things like that. But it's it's pretty cool. Like there's some, ulu tortillas and like around day 5 of doing the challenge. I mean, for me, like I start like craving carbs and stuff. So like the put-yai waffles and the various ways over the years we've figured out how to scratch that itch. It's a fun little book. I mentioned that we've helped grow these other chapters and challenges on other islands. And most recently, we launched we just did our challenge in October this year. And we launched at the Food Summit at KS. And what was super cool is because of that and inspired by us, they made a 100% locally sourced menu for the Food Summit this year, which was incredible. And it's kind of, sometimes I call it the dirty every dish in my kitchen challenge, because you're making literally everything from scratch. So it's like so cool to go out and eat for a day, 100% local without, making it. But and overall, we get a lot of like really positive feedback from local ag producers. So Haleakala Creamery, will say like, hey, I can see it in my sales every time that you do your challenge. So those are all really positive things. And looking forward to the coming year, it'll be the 10-year anniversary of that first challenge. So really hoping to engage more people and more ag producers and more schools, and like, how can we just make this the best one ever? We're considering doing some quarterly challenges. We generally do it in the fall because food is so good. But we could do some spring, summer, fall, even mini challenges. And this has been entirely volunteer run for 9 years. So we did just recently hook up with a fiscal sponsor. So hopefully this year we can kind of pursue some grant opportunities to keep it going. And that's the project in a nutshell.
Thank you, Lauren, for sharing. Really appreciate all the work you put into supporting our local food here and getting more people excited about it. If anyone has any other questions for Lauren, please type them into the chat. But a few that I saw that I just wanted to relay here. What were some of the hardest goods for you to source local? And where can people learn more about your challenges when they're coming out, how to participate in them, and any good recipes that you have?
Yeah, you know what? One of the worst, I was going to respond to this, but the Maui County social media page is and YouTube channel is where those instructional videos are. This picture, I chose this picture because it's a feral chicken. And like, this is the 2015 challenge, but I like hunted and taught myself how to like pluck and gut a wild chicken like on YouTube, like, and I was really stoked about it. It was like very empowering to like learn how to do it. It wasn't really great. I mean, I made soup with it and it was fine, but I am very thankful for Simple Roots, today. And because of like this experience, right? Like I'm happy to pay, I understand the value of a $35 local chicken that's been fed really well and harvested humanely, like within a couple miles from my home, right? What is my time worth? This is like you don't want to know how long it took to get that thing done, and so poultry is a big one. Dairy is obviously a big one. We're doing better all the time. But in the beginning, there weren't a lot of oil options. We can get butter, from the Hawai'i dairy down at Whole Foods. And I guess the hub carries it now. But I think overall, it's like, you still have to plan. You can't do anything spontaneous. If you, are interested in, let's say, local bacon, which is questionably legal, you have to either like get on the Llama Farms list when their little kit comes up, or you have to, order it with Lopes and meet in a parking lot a couple of days later. There's no like, I'm just going to run into a store and buy the ingredients. So all in all, and then of course we don't have wheat, rice, cereals, bread. So all of that is out the window. And which becomes tougher, honestly, just with my kid, right? Like she likes mac and cheese. There's no local, swap for that. So we're still working on it. But and then in terms of finding like the Facebook group is where like the community's at. I know Facebook's kind of weird, but like with that group of the 5,000 people, it's all local people. I have really administered that group with a pretty heavy hand. And so even when Facebook has gone to like allowing anybody to join a public group, there are some people who maybe are planning on visiting who are enter the group. They're not part of the discussion. It is a locally run group. Most of our members are from Maui towns, and I take a lot of pride in that. We reach 50,000 people a month in that group, so it's a good place for if local producers have a product. The one rule in that group is it has to be a locally grown product. So it's really clear to the mission. And that's where we do a lot of like sharing recipes. And I mean, some of our members are making like fish sauce like 6 months in advance for the challenge. We have some like hardcore challengers.
All right. Well, thank you so much for sharing about Project Locavore. Everyone, please check out the Eat Local Challenge on Facebook. And thanks for all the work you do.
Thanks for having me.
All right. Well, up next, we're going to have Andrea DeRude from the Maui Tea Farm up in Kula. So here we go. Are you ready, Andrea?
Hi, thanks, Mason. Aloha ahi ahi, everyone. Good evening. And thanks, Lauren. I I really appreciated your presentation. So my background, in addition to being a tea farmer, is I'm a clinical dietitian, a registered dietitian. I've been in healthcare for over a decade here on Maui and elsewhere. And I think what resonated with me about your presentation the most is the reality that most of us here have come from somewhere else where we have family roots, potentially from elsewhere. And maybe only like 1 or 2 generations ago, most of our family members knew how to, just by routine of their lives, gut a chicken, kill a pig, make things from scratch and harvest things in season. And I think the fact that all this is so alien or difficult for us now is because just society has changed. And you see it both in the health of many people in developed countries, including us here in Hawaii. And also just this sticker shock when you do have to pay for things that are local. Here at Maui Tea Farm, we hand harvest and hand pick both Camellia sinensis, which is in limited supply, and mamaki, Pipterus albidus, which is a native Hawaiian species. And so the price point difference for those and our imported blends, which are organic but from elsewhere, is huge. And so as a society, these are some things that we have to be honest about, is the true cost of food and agriculture and what it means for our health. Also the taxation that it has on food systems and the planet, because we're so used to being able to procure food cheaply, quickly, and having just a wide variety available to us, which in some ways is good and in some ways isn't. So I really appreciated your presentation. And yeah, that's my little tangent as like a food systems nerd. That's what got me into dietetics. So I'm going to share my screen and we can nerd out about tea for the next like 15 to 20 minutes. I'll try to keep an eye on the chat too, so you guys can ask me questions. So here we go. Start share. And save from current slide. So just to reintroduce myself, my name is Andrea. I'm one of the owners and tea farmers up here at our small family business at the Maui Tea Farm. We actually have 2 companies. So Maui Tea Farm is our actual farm location here at 4,000 feet on Haleakala and Upper Kula. Our retail wholesale sister company is Pono Infusions. So this includes both the couple of products that we grow here at our farm, as well as organic imported ingredients for added variety and options for people who also need not just local. They maybe are looking for things that are supplied year round, because there is a seasonality to tea. So this is me and my husband Alex in our tea fields at home. So I'm not sure if anyone maybe has connected with me before or seen a tea bush or a tea tree, but the species is Camellia sinensis. The Latin translation is Chinese camellia. So tea is originally from China. It's from southwestern China, northern Vietnam, and it is well suited to mountain climate. So we began growing Camellia sinensis about 9 years ago, coming up in 2023, as a backyard kind of moonlighting as a tea farmer project. My background is also the tea bushes. So you can see the Camellia sinensis on one side and Mamaki on the other. We started it because we are very passionate about the actual beverage tea, but also having something that is, of course, locally grown and a part of human health. So Alex has a strong professional background and interest in tropical agriculture. Tea is very well known for its health benefits, especially in Eastern medicine, and today forms a part of a very healthy diet. In the US, people are into tea, but across the world, tea is the #2 beverage consumed worldwide after water. So this is a little bit of spiel about our farm, as well as just our values, where we're located, what we stand for. There's a long evolution behind this. So our home farm, we started growing a Darjeeling seedling cultivar of Camellia sinensis next to our koa trees that we have at home, our Ohialehua and Mamane native trees. We expanded our plantings to include other native and non-native botanicals, just to have a biodiverse agricultural system. We began also farming Mamaki at around the same time. If anyone has a show of hands or wants to chat me, is anyone familiar with Mamaki, or did you grow up drinking it? Did you grow up? I love the two-handed. Did anyone grow up drinking it and think it was gross? I get that comment a lot too. Just something like your auntie or your grandma would give you if you were sick, and it's kind of bitter and nasty. From some of my patients when I was in the hospital or working in outpatient clinics, I got that a lot. Like, oh, Mamaki, it's like kind of doesn't taste very good. So it depends on how you brew it, which is why if you come to the Maui Tea Farm, you can totally sample our Mamaki. But Mamaki, it's a native Hawaiian herbal bush that's distantly related to European stinging nettle. However, like all native Hawaiian plants that evolved without deer and pig and other ungulates to eat it or to carry its seeds on its fur, Mamaki doesn't have thorns or stingers, and instead self-propagates by berries. So you can touch it and pick it without gloves just fine. In the 9 years that we've been doing the tea farm, we've started offering farm tours. We have a tea retail shop, on-site retail and tea tastings, and internships for Maui students at certain times of year. So we lease agricultural land from Haleakala Ranch, and that's where we operate our visitor site. You can see some of the activities at our visitor location, 18303 Haleakala Highway. See some familiar faces potentially. And it's really nice to both welcome visitors, kama'aina, and tea aficionados of all walks of life, because tea is a beverage that is really a communal beverage. It's certainly an agricultural product to be able to enjoy in meditation or in maybe more sophisticated and serious environments. But ultimately, tea is about people. It's about a life cycle of a plant, seasons, which do exist here in Hawaii, of course, and in Upper Kula, it tends to be a bit more drastic. So I think it deepens the connection with the agriculture to be able to have people come, check out the farm, touch a tea plant, see some of the challenges about what it is to maintain a farm that's farmed organically, meet, different team members that are working on site, and then be able to like taste and buy the product. So it also works as a small farm to be able to offer agritourism as an income supplement. So that's really key. That's obviously not unique to our own farm. Plenty of other farms that are able to do it offer that as a visitor experience. And on a personal level, since COVID, when everyone was very isolated and unsure of where things were going with the world, to be able to gather again outdoors in nature, and really have it focused on the Aina is, I think, just something that we all need to kind of heal as a society. So it's a really cool thing to be able to do with a group of people that you don't know, but you end up kind of liking them in the end. So that's really a nice thing. So for folks who are familiar with mamaki, tea and mamaki have very different growth cycles, very different leaf shapes and plant structures. Mamaki is a bush that becomes productive after about 6 months of age. Everything on our farm is hand harvested, so all of the leaves are taken and used for plant material that we make then into dried mamaki tea. We can continue to harvest from mamaki plants for quite some time. And one of the neat things about it is when mamaki is very young, say like 6 months to a couple of years old, the leaves can be pretty big, like almost as big as my head even. But as the plant ages and matures, even if it's still healthy, the leaves become smaller in shape and size. So it's a lot more work to hand prune a mature mamaki plant where you're not getting a lot of weight and volume off of one branch, but it's a huge joy to be able to harvest from a really young plant. Makes your day a lot easier when you don't have to do so much clipping with the clippers. Talking about local agriculture and products that are 100% grown here, our Haleakala black tea is our 100% hand harvested and farm picked black tea from our home fields of Darjeeling seedlings. So what you pick when you pick tea, unlike mamaki, is only the newest shoots that come off a tea plant, what we call the peko, or first two leaves in a bud. I think that the picture to the left of your screen with that shiny waxy peko is, that's a professional photo not done by me. So they did a great job taking pictures of our farm, but that's what a new tea shoot looks like close up. It's beautiful, shiny, full of oil, antioxidants, natural sugars, and catechin or tannin that's naturally present in the tea leaf as well. So that's the bit that you're picking. If you see in the middle picture, this is a beautiful shot of our packaged product nestled in a row of peko that's just ripe for harvest. So that is what you're picking when you pick tea. And I'll ask everyone, do you folks know, and you can say in chat, is most tea in the world hand-picked or machine harvested? I'm just going to take a quick poll and see what people think. How do you think most tea around the world is picked? You guys are so smart. Everyone said hand. So you're right. Think about where tea is from. Tea is from China. It's picked in South Asia. A lot of tea, even in Taiwan, comes from Vietnam, which is one of the birthplaces of tea. So yes, most tea across the world is still handpicked by women, of course, by women no less. In some cultures, they think women pick tea better because we have smaller hands. So don't know what that says about people. But this is why fair trade tea and organic tea that you're purchasing from the grocery store. So forget about Hawaii grown, because that's a whole other thing. And it's of course limited. But yeah, the rights of workers for tea workers are really talking about the rights of women around the world. So this is key. In some developed countries, like Japan, you will have two-man harvesters or some machine harvesting happening. Of course, this adds to efficiency and greatly reduces the cost of the product as well. But I always like to bring that one up because even in 2022, most tea around the world is still picked by hand. So cool at 4,000 feet.
New tea starts are going to be planted.
Okay, this is the video.
Nice double row here that we're going to be putting in. Dog. We got some nice, rich, volcanic soil here. No added compost, nothing. This is naturally occurring here in Kula. Some black gold. So those plants will be going in here pretty soon. You see we have some nice momaki bushes on either side of those rows.
Okay, I'm not sure about the video quality on that, but I'll summarize in case it was a bit shaky. So this is a field of new tea shoots that we were putting in pre-COVID, so mid-2019. We have very good soil up here in Kula, so that's of an advantage to farming really anything up here, but tea as well. We don't really have clay soils. We have a lot of humus and organic matter. The cooler temperatures, we're not quite at frost level at 4,000 feet, but it's great for seasonal pest and weed control, especially for Japanese beetles, which tend to be the predominant pest for Camellia sinensis. And then there's an opportunity for a lot of biodiversity. So natives, non-natives, they all kind of add to this interesting climate zone. So you attract a lot of beneficial and predatory insects and birds as well. Challenge. So Kula gets around 30 to 35 inches of rainfall a year for a water-loving crop like tea or mamaki or coffee, because our visitor site has a ½ acre of coffee. That is a big challenge. You have to irrigate, you have to add water. We just don't have the rainfall in the summer to sustain our crop and keep it healthy. Oh gosh, deer and other feral ungulates. Who doesn't really have that problem here on Maui, but certainly we do here. So you need to have either big bucks or invest in infrastructure through grants and then put your own sweat equity or a team sweat equity in for upkeep of those things.
So here we have some of our oldest tea rows, nice and healthy, green and lush, growing underneath this beautiful 25-year-old koa tree. So that leaf litter comes down, serves as mulch. You see all that nice natural koa mulch here. Keeps the weeds down and helps feed the tea. We also have our trusty feline companions who help with the tea farm management.
So certainly having an agroforestry system is very beneficial in certain ways when it comes to crops like tea that need a lot of moisture in the soil, mulch. You guys are very savvy. You know that koa are beneficial for many reasons, but they have nodes that feed good bacteria in the soil that produce nitrogen. So that's always good for especially nitrogen deficient soils, but really the tea loves it too. So it keeps it very happy. Let's see. I see some really good questions, so I'll definitely address those in the end. These are just a couple of photos that we've taken over the years of our product and what we try to convey in our packaging. We try to feature different aspects of native and endangered species. So not that we have a lot of them up at our property per se, but we feature the pulelehua, the native Kamehameha butterfly, who naturally feeds on mamaki and koa. its larvae thrive on them. And this is another picture of our so other than the mamaki, are products that we make from organic imported ingredients. And I'll leave you with this beautiful picture of an ohia lehua tree, which is one of my personal favorite trees, I'm sure, like many people. But they're just lovely to have on the property, whether you're farming or not. So that is my presentation. So I'm happy to answer questions. And I don't know, Mason, if you'd rather read them off, or how should we do the Q&A section?
Thank you so much for your presentation. Really appreciate you sharing. Let's see, if there are questions you'd like to address, if you could just read the question or briefly summarize it if you're reading it off the chat here.
Yeah, I'll try to answer them all in one big. I talk a lot, so I'm sure you guys are like a little tired of hearing me, but also understand that. So I'll try to summarize everyone's question in once. Yes, it's very labor intensive. I think at one point in the 19th century, tea was looked at by Lipton to become a plantation crop in Hawaii, as well as on Maui Island specifically. And that idea was scrapped because it's very labor intensive. So we figured out sugarcane and pineapple was somehow less resource and less labor intensive, which that's a whole other story. Most of the planting is done manually and without machinery. So all of the harvesting, drying, this all takes a lot of time and effort. The conditions have to be very specific for drying because Hawaii has a high relative humidity. So the most important thing about drying your product is, of course, controlling for mold and making sure your finished product doesn't mold. If you have a very expensive, locally made product, just because it's made here and it's good quality, you want to make sure it retains its value once it's on the shelf. Maintaining an established bush is relatively easy, as your maintenance is also your harvest. Yeah, and there's a lot of care that goes into tea plants in the off season as well as mamaki. Just to be brief about it, so tea has a seasonal cycle because it's used to being in high mountains in Central Asia. So it's used to having a period where it proliferates more with new growth, and then it has a period where it goes dormant after a flowering and seeding period. So the spring and summer is really the prime time for new vegetative growth, which we harvest with Camellia sinensis. And then when it becomes a little less productive in the fall and winter, here in Hawaii, even at 4,000 feet on Haleakala, we can still harvest. But that's really more the time for plant care, for hedging, pruning, weeding, and adding mulch and things like that. So it's in part a labor of love, but it's a super cool niche crop to be able to offer it as a farm tour experience and as a locally grown product. Is mamaki a stimulant? Well, you know, I think just from a caffeine type molecule perspective, it doesn't have natural caffeine. It is a diuretic, which means it encourages your kidneys to release extra water from the body. To a certain extent, coffee and tea are that as well. So if it was keeping you up because you had to keep going to the bathroom, potentially it was doing what it does. It makes your kidneys evacuate water. So I only drink a cup or two at night for that reason. So appreciate the questions, you guys. We welcome visitors. We offer Kama'aina discounts up at our shop and for our farm tour. So if you'd ever like to come up and check us out, you can look at our website, mauiteafarm.com, and just come up to the farm without making an appointment. We're open Mondays through Saturdays between 9:30 and 4:30. So love to see you up there.
All right, thank you. One more time, Andrea DeRude from the Maui Tea Farm. Thank you very much for telling us about tea. All righty. I think that's it for our speakers for this series today. But thank you so much, Drew, for sticking around. And I was wondering if you could play us out of here with a couple more songs.
Let's see. Yeah, let's do them. No, I'm gonna come by the tea farm because I'm always going up to the crater.
Oh, nice.
I drive by you guys almost. I'm up in the crater almost at least a few times a month, so I'll pop in next time I go drive up there. Yeah,
Oh, that'd be awesome, Drew. Would love
Yeah.
to welcome you.
because I see you right there on the left as you like right before you get to the pasture land. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. That'd be so cool.
I'll come by. Yeah, because I'm always with my mamaki tea too. That keeps my voice going. Because Mason knows at the shows I'm always screaming, and mamaki tea is the best thing for me. The day after a show is like kind of gets me back. Yeah. So that's how it is now after these gigs. I don't have a voice for a couple days. Let's see. I'll get some harmonica going on this one. Let's see. This is the fun part, tuning. This is a song I wrote up in the Iao Valley, so most of the music I play is from Iao, right around Kipaniwai Park. That's where I like to go write. So here's one for Kipaniwai. Ah! Moving through the day, thoughts left far behind. Thinking about tomorrow, wondering what I'll do. Walk around town, up and down for you. Looking up, down, and avoid the underground. Looking up, down, and avoid the underground. Circle of dirt, circle of dirt. Make us land, make me still, make it worth the while. Watch the waters fill. Make us land, make me still, make it worth the while. Watch the waters fill. Oh, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. Flowing like the sea, like a tree inside a breeze. Mountain in the fog, Lord beneath the rose, street is so. Make us land, make me still, make it worth the while. Watch the waters fill. Tell a lie, can't explain. Left in the dirt, without my name. Who am I? Who are you? What are we gonna do? Who am I? Who are you? What are we gonna do? Who am I? Who are you? What are we gonna do? Who am I? Who are you? What are we gonna do?
Who are you? What are we gonna do? Who am I? Who are you? What are we gonna do? Who am I? Who are you? What are we gonna do? Who am I? Who are you? What are we gonna do?
Thank you. Let's see. We'll do one more, huh? Can do one more. Yeah. Okay. I keep forgetting I got a hat on.
Oh, yeah, you.
Thank you. Let's see. I got this uke hiding over here. We'll mess around on the uke for this last one. Everything's nice and out of tune too. So this one is quick though. It's another new song. I wrote this out in Kakuloa out there. So okay. Thank you guys. Thanks for having me. Yeah.
Reflecting on an empty shelf, never knew myself, never understood my name. Reflecting on an empty shelf, standing in the hallway, running into mirrors, standing in the hallway, never understood my legs. Oh, ask me for a nickel and a dime. Don't know why. Ask me for a little gold. Emptied those pockets yesterday, you know. Ask me for a little time. I got a nickel on my mind. Don't know why. Don't know why. Don't know why. Two birds flying high. When did Craig and Billy die? There's two birds and they're flying high. Take their hearts and souls and fly to tomorrow's sky. To tomorrow's sky. Tomorrow's sky where the white bird flies. Tomorrow's sky where the white bird
I still don't know how to end that song. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Drew Martin, everybody.
Yay!
Found at Drew Hey Now on Instagram. Thank you so much. That was wonderful music.
Thank you. Yay!
And thank you everyone else in HFUU who made this possible. And thank you to our speakers for today, Lauren Rago with Project Locavore and Andrea DeRude with the Maui Tea Farm. Thank you all so much. That concludes our speaker series for today. And I just wanted to let anyone know from our Haleakala chapter that we are planning on having our next community meeting, hopefully in January on the 24th at a new location up in Pukalani. Once things get confirmed, I will let everybody know more about it. So thank you, everyone, and have a good night.